Welcome to the online MBS workshop. I'm your guide, Jackie. In the whole training, we would cover different business concepts that are required to operate a business and pass it in a simulation platform called Macro Business Simulation, as known as MBS. You may wonder what MBS is and how it helps me to know more about business operations. In fact, MBS is a simulation platform that allows you and different players to operate the business yourself in the virtual market and compete with each other. You would have to make certain decisions for material procurement, pricing, production, raising capital, or even borrowing loans. I'd rather you to manage the company and act as a manager to formulate strategies and make decisions for the company. Let's take a look at the configuration before we delve into the game itself. The game is divided into 4 difficulty levels, of which every higher level has more decisions to be made. In this video, we'll focus on decisions at level 1, which are mainly related to pricing and production. The scenario is also given. Suppose you acquired a chocolate firm a few months ago, which includes a production line for chocolate and several retail shops in the city. In this case, you would have several rounds to make decisions. Please note that a round refers to a season, which is 3 months. Here comes the question. What data should we consider before making decisions for our chocolate company? There are things you can consider. Our goal is to maximize profits by selling as much chocolate as possible. But we must also consider the potential demand from the market, our available resources, and the cost of chocolate we produce, right? We may also need to take into account our competitors and the business environment in order to play the business brand and make informed decisions for the upcoming competition. You might wonder what is potential demand refers in this game. It in fact refers to the total number of orders we received in units for the current round, and it is influenced by various factors. First, we may need to consider the business environment. In IABMS, there are several indicators that reflect the macroeconomy. That is, the market economy in which the chocolate company operates. 3 usual indicators are provided, namely inflation, economic growth rate, and seasonal indicator. As all of you know, inflation usually refers to the rise in prices in the certain region. According to the International Monetary Fund, inflation is the rate of increase in prices over a given period of time, which usually acts as a broad measure for the overall increase in prices or the increase in the cost of living in the country. That means inflation would lead to a decline of people's purchasing power, and every dollar is then worth less than before. The economic growth rate, on the other hand, refers to percentage change in the value of all goods and services produced in the nation during specific time periods compared to the earlier period. It could serve as a measure for the health of an economy over time. The seasonal indicator might be unfamiliar to all of you. Let's imagine that we are in Christmas, where more people would buy chocolate as their gifts to friends and families. So, how does it affect our company? In fact, the potential demand will decrease for the whole month, right? The seasonal indicator represents the degree through which the season affects potential demand. If the indicator is higher than 100, congratulations! You would be able to receive more orders. In level 1, we would also need to consider the customer's behavior, which is influenced by price and marketing. According to the law of demand, an increase in price leads to a decrease in the quantity demanded, and vice versa. Several data has shown that the potential demand rose much when we lower the price. However, Company A results in net loss of almost 100,000. Here is some time for you to refresh your memory. What causes this loss? Additionally, factors such as product image and quality also impact customer demand. By increasing marketing expenses, we can enhance the product image, which in turn can lead to a higher potential demand. However, the same scenario came out again. The company which invested more in marketing suffered a huge loss. From the example, you might discover that the sales volume is capped at a certain point even though the potential demand is high enough to make profits. But what is missing, apart from a favorable price and an appealing image for the product? In fact, the example also implies the importance of efficient production. Although we have many orders, we are only capable of fulfilling those orders if we have enough chocolate inventory to sell. Yet, how do we calculate the amount that we need to produce? First of all, estimate the potential demand for the next round and get a rough idea on that. Then, we can check how much inventory is left in the warehouse so that we can know how much we should produce. This is also called the production request or allocation in MBS. It sounds reasonable, right? In other words, the sum of finished goods inventory and the amount of goods produced will be equal to the maximum number of goods available for sales, or available to fulfill the potential demand. But you know, the actual may deviate a lot from estimation. It will be difficult for us to correctly project future demands, even with advanced tools and algorithms. Therefore, there are always some differences between the amounts of goods we have and the potential demand. Let's take a look at the scenario first. If our maximum number of goods available for sales is larger than or equal to the potential demand, that means we could fulfill all our orders. To be exact, our sales volume would be equal to the potential demand. The remaining goods would become inventory for the next round. On the other hand, if our maximum goods available for sales is smaller than the amount of orders we have, we might be able to produce some orders only. Our sales volume would then equal to all the goods we have in hand. However, those unfilled demands would turn into lost sales of 30%, and the remaining 70% would be grabbed by competitors. Here is the overall flow chart where we are considering the production. That are those information enough for us to make the best decision? At the beginning of the video, I mentioned that we should also consider our resources before making any decisions. It is not possible to use billions of dollars to round cake your factory if the company was just founded a few years ago, right? The same applies to production. Due to limited equipment, we are not able to produce finished goods as much as we want. In MBS, the next production capacity refers to the maximum amounts that could be produced in one shift, which is equivalent to 8 hours. As machines are getting older and older, it would not only increase the depreciation extent, but it would also affect the machine's production efficiency. That is, the next production capacity would decline as time goes by. Since the maximum number of shifts in level 1 is 1 of 5 shifts, the maximum production capacity would be equal to the max production capacity times 1 of 5. For overtime workers, that is, workers who worked more than one shift, their labor cost in the overtime period will be increased by 50%. Therefore, to calculate the amount of labor cost, we should take a look at how much we would produce and compare it with the next production capacity. The excess amount of production would be the finished goods would give by overtime workers. Material procurement also plays a crucial role in production. We should purchase enough materials to meet estimate production requests or allocations. The cost of purchased materials as shown on the screen. The operating expense for purchasing, which would be reported in the income statement, would be equal to procurement cost times price index. As machines are getting older and older, it would not only increase the depreciation expense, but it would also affect the machine's production efficiency. That is, net production capacity will decline as time goes by. Since the maximum number of ships in level 1 is 1.5 ships, the maximum production capacity would be equal to the next production capacity times 1.5. For overtime workers, that is, workers who work for more than one shift, the labor cost in the overtime period would increase by 30%. Therefore, to calculate the amount of labor cost, we should take a look at how much we would produce and compare it to the next production capacity. The excess amount of production would be the finished goods produced by overtime workers. Material procurement also plays a crucial role in production, which approaches enough materials to meet the estimated production request or allocation. The cost of purchasing materials are shown on the screen. The operating expense for purchasing, which will be recorded in the income statement, would be equal to the procurement cost times price index. However, you might not be able to use 1 unit of cocoa bean to produce 1 bar of chocolate, right? In IABMS, the material conversion rate shown in the income statement could help us calculate the amount of finished goods we could produce. In fact, the number of goods that we can produce would be the amount of raw materials times the material conversion rate. Yet, the material conversion rate will decrease due to the depreciation of the equipment. More importantly, please be aware that the purchase of raw materials in this round can only be used to produce the finished goods in the next round. To be specific, a part of the raw materials inventory in the previous round would be used for the production of the previous round. The remaining amount of inventory, coupled with the raw material purchased in the previous round, would equal to the amount of raw material inventory in this round, which is also the maximum amount you can use for production in this round. One point to clarify, the raw materials purchased in this round are not ready for the production of this round, but it would be included in the raw materials inventory next round instead. Here is an overall picture of how the production works, and you could refer to the flow chart shown on the screen. Let's conclude the things we have learned today. At the beginning of the video, we discussed factors affecting potential demand, including customer behavior and the macro economy. Yet, we need some strategies to meet the potential demand, including assigning production to rest or allocation and purchasing raw materials. Here comes the end of the video, and see you in the next video. Bye!